Welcome back, dear students. So today we'll be beginning a new exercise on measures of central tendency. So I'm sure that you have understood the earlier exercise because it was very easy exercise, right? Where you have to make use of only the formula available with you. Okay. Now, in today's class also, the formula that we have learned in the last class plays a major role. Okay, so today we'll be learning about mean of grouped data, both continuous and discontinuous. Okay, so as I told you, the formulae are going to be seen. Now, what is continuous and discontinuous? We'll understand about them while doing the sums. Okay, so one thing that I want to say here is about discontinuous. There's only one problem given in the exercise, and that's your last problem. So that means whichever problems that we are going to do other than the last sum is going to be the continuous one, right? So let's see the first question. So by the way, assumed mean method means it is shortcut method. Okay, right? So the first question says the following table gives the weekly wages of workers in a factory. Okay, so weekly wages, so this is given in rupees. So see, weekly wages in between rupees 50 to rupees 55. So number of people getting weekly wages as rupees 50 to rupees 55, in between them is number 5. That means 5 workers gets in between these rupees as weekly wages. Similarly, there are 20 people who gets weekly wages as in between 55 to rupees 60. Similarly, this data is being followed here. So you need to calculate the mean by using direct method. Okay, right. So number of workers means it is simply the frequency, right? And see these, okay, so 50 to 55, 55 to 60, 60 to 65. So these are called class intervals. Remember the names, it is called class interval. Okay, so first and foremost we will find using mean using the direct method, and as per direct method formula is this one. Okay, and as usual we will find what are the things that we need in this formula. So first and foremost, whatever is given, let's write down. So weekly wages is given. Next thing that is given to us is number of workers, that is F. So in the formula we have F, so we don't have any problem as we have already seen what is our F. Now the problem lies is, what is this X? We don't have any X being given here, right? So always remember the mid, okay, or the middle number of the given class interval will be your X. Okay, that is the mid value. Okay, so the mid value will be the value for X. So that's why your mid value, okay, so mid value, call this as X, will be the number which is just lying in between 50 and 55. If you are not able to make out which one is lying exactly at the middle, what you can do is you can add these two numbers. So 50 plus 55 is 105. Okay, and you divide the total by 2. That will give you the mid value. Okay, so similarly find mid value here, find mid value, find mid value. Okay, so all these mid value will be in the value of X, right? Now what do you need? See, we got X also, right? Now we need the product of F and X. So Fx, so you have F here, you have X here, so you will multiply them. Okay, so multiply all and you get the values for Fx also. Now summation means we need to add, or we need to find the total. So we need to find the total of Fx. We will add all this Fx and we'll find the total of F. That means we'll add all the values for F. Okay, so when you add, you get the total of F to be 80 and the total of Fx turns out to be 5520. Kindly add and check whether you get this much or not, right? So let's put the value. So we have total of Fx, that is summation Fx is 5520 and summation F is 80. So when you do the cancellation, your mean, okay, your mean turns out to be 69 using direct method. Okay, so you may pause the video and note down the solution. Let's have the second part of the question. You have to calculate the mean by using shortcut method. Shortcut method means you have to use assumed mean method. So first and foremost, let's write down the formula. So A is the assumed mean, and D stands for x minus A, remember. Okay, so as usual, we will write down this thing from the earlier table itself. Okay, so we have got the x. Now you have to take some mean, isn't it? Because you are using assumed mean method. So let me take the assumed mean to be 72.5. So from here, from this value of x, you have to take any value. So here I am taking 72.5 as my value for A, right? So we got A. Now we need D, right? So all of you know D is x minus A. Okay, so D is x minus A. And what is A? A is 72.5. So subtract 72.5 from x, that is 52.5, minus 72.5 is minus 20. Similarly, you have x value here, so 57.5 minus A, that is 72.5, will be minus 15. Similarly, do the rest, you will get your D, that is x minus A. Okay, now we got D. Now I want the product of f and d. So I have f here, I have d here. So let's find its product. So fd will turn out to be this much. 5 into minus 20 is minus 100, 20 into minus 15 is minus 30, and similarly these follows. Okay, now we need to find the total of fd. We have to add all the values of fd, and we have to add the values of f also. So let's find the total. So I have founded the total of f, and I have founded the total of fd. Now let's put the value in the formula. A is 72.5 plus summation fd is minus 280 divided by summation f is 80. So when you do the cancellation, okay, so plus into minus becomes minus. So when you do the cancellation, you get 3.5. So subtract, you get 69. So here in this case also we have our answer to be 69, and in earlier case also we found that your mean was exactly 69, right? So you may pause the video and note down your solution. Let's have another question, question number 5. So question number 5 says the mean of the following distribution, that is this distribution, is given to be 21 and 1 by 7. Find the value of f. So by the way, I told you in the beginning that the problems that we are doing right now are continuous frequency distribution. So how do we identify whether it is continuous or not? So for checking the continuous, see, this is called the lower limit and this is called the upper limit. Now see, this is lower limit 10, and I'm sorry, this is the upper limit for the first class interval, and for the next class interval this 10 is the lower limit. Similarly 20 is the upper limit, but here it is lower limit. So basically in case of continuous frequency distribution, your lower limit and the upper limit should match. Okay, so that's what is your continuous frequency distribution, and the formula that we are using till now are valid only for continuous distribution. Please remember that. Okay, so let's see this particular problem. So in this case your mean is given. Okay, so this is a problem that we have already seen in earlier exercise also. Only difference is this time you have been given the class interval. Okay, and in that earlier case you were given the value of x, and here we know how to find the value of x also. You need to find the midpoint, isn't it? So that's why, see, first and foremost let me write the formula. Okay, so class interval is given, frequency is given, right? So let's write down the mid value now. So mid value will be, so in between 0 and 10 the mid value is 5, in between 10 and 20 the mid value is 15. Similarly find all the mid values. Okay, so we have got f and we have got x. So let's find their product. So fx is 8 into 5 40, 22 into 15 330, 31 into 25 is 775, f into 35 becomes 35f, 2 into 45 is 90. Now I need to find the sum of fx, that is I'll add all the values for fx and I'll add all the values of f. So when you find the total, it turns out to be 63 plus f, and when you find its total it turns out to be 1235 plus 35 35f. Now let's put the value. So see, we know mean is given to be 21 and 1 by 7. This is given to be, this total is given to be this much, and the denominator is given to be this much, right? So when you simplify this, this becomes 148 by 7. Now do the cross multiplication and find the value of f. Okay, so you will complete it by yourself. Okay, and when you solve it, you will get that the value of f turns out to be 7, right? So pause the video and note down your solution. Let's have another question. So here you are going to use step deviation method. Okay, so you have to calculate the mean using step deviation method. So let's see how to find this. So first and foremost, you have to take the assumed mean. Okay, so assumed mean we will take from the table. Okay, so first find the mean value or the mid value, and from there select the assumed mean. Okay, so I'm taking 72.5 as usual. This is the formula available with us. Okay, now from this formula, see what is I, by the way. I is the difference between the lower limit and the upper limit here. We find the difference is 55 minus 50 is 5, 60 minus 55 is also 5. So that means the difference, okay, or the width, we can say width of each class interval is I, okay, which is equals to 5, right? Now t, what is t? T is x minus a whole divided by I. You know this from the formula. Okay, so that's why I'll calculate t equals to x minus a divided by I. That is x minus 72.5. A is 72.5 divided by I is 5. Now let's put the value of x. So here x is, in the first case, x is 52.5. So put 52.5. So 52.5 minus 72.5 is minus 20. So minus 20 divided by 5 will be minus 4. Okay. Similarly, calculate all the values for t. Okay, just put the value of x and calculate how much do you get. So these gives you the values for t, right? Okay, by the way, here it will be minus 2. Okay, so 2 is missing here, so please write minus 2 here. Now I have got the value of t. Now I want f into t. So we will multiply f and t. We will multiply f and t. So 5 into minus 4 becomes minus 20, right? 20 into minus 3 becomes minus 60. Here we have 2. So minus 2 into 10 becomes minus 20. And similarly find all the values of ft. And we need to add ft and we need to add f. So we will find their total also. So total of f and total of ft. So therefore from the formula we have a 72.5 plus, you know, this is minus 56 divided by summation f is 80 into I. I is 5. Now simplify this. Okay, so when you simplify this, this turns out to be exactly 69. So again, using step deviation method, your mean marks turns out to be 69. Okay, so pause the video and note down your solution. Right, so we have next question. Question says, using the information given in the adjoining histogram, calculate the mean. So from the diagram, you have to first form the data. Now see, if you look at the class interval from 15 to 25, your frequency is this height. This height means it is 10. Okay. Similarly, from 25 to 35, your class interval 25 to 35, your frequency is 20. From 35 to 45, your frequency is 25. From 45 to 55, your frequency is 15. And from 55 to 65, your frequency is 5. So that's why your table looks somewhat like this. Class interval and frequency, I have noted them down. And now you need to calculate the mean. So you'll be able to complete by yourself, isn't it? Okay, so I'm not explaining this, but I'm giving you the entire answer. So what you can do is you can just pause the video and note down the solution. Okay, so for question number 9, I'm not doing it, but you have to do it by yourself. So you can take the help of, see, you can take the help of exercise 24a, question number 13. Okay, there x was given, but this time x is not given to us. Okay, so what you can do is you can find the value of x by taking the mid value, and you can take the help of question number 13 from exercise 24a, right? So you may pause the video and do the needful. Now let's observe the last question, and as I told you, this particular question is of discontinuous frequency distribution type, right? So why? Let's see the reason. Now if you see here, the lower limit is 20, the upper limit is 20, whereas the lower limit is 21. But in case of continuous, you know that both of these should match, isn't it? So these two are not matching here. So that's why this is the case of discontinuous frequency distribution. Now the question is, now what to do in this case? Okay, so remember that you need to include something called adjustment factor here. Okay, so what do we do in adjustment factor? So basically in adjustment factor, we will adjust this marks, okay, and make it or turn it into continuous form. Okay, so remember all these lower limits, okay, all these lower limits has to be subtracted by 0.5. okay, so all the lower limits has to be subtracted by 0.5. so let's subtract and check how much do we get. So if you subtract 0.5 from 11, you get 10.5. okay, so next this becomes 20.5, 20.5, this becomes 30.5. okay, then similarly this 41 becomes 40.5, 51 becomes 50.5, and 61 becomes 60.5. next 71 becomes 70.5. so this is the adjustment with the lower limit. Now see, in the lower limit you have subtracted 0.5. now in the upper limit you will add 0.5. okay, you will add 0.5 to the upper limit. So if you add 0.5 to 20, you get 20.5. okay, now similarly 30 becomes 30.5, becomes 30.5. next 40 becomes 40.5. okay, next this 50 becomes 50.5. similarly you will get 60.5, you get 70.5, and the last one becomes 80.5. now look at this, look at this class interval, lower limit and the upper limit and lower limit, they are matching. Now this becomes your continuous. okay, so if you want to find the mid value, I told you, you just add these two, so it becomes, how much it becomes, so 20, 30, 31, right? So it becomes 31. so let me add once again, 10.5 plus 20.5 becomes 31. so when you divide it by 2, you get 15.5. so the mid value becomes 15.5. similarly if you find here the mid value, it turns out to be, so we have 20.5 plus 30.5 is 51 divided by 2 is 25.5. so this becomes 25.5. okay, similarly this becomes 35.5, this becomes 36.5, 45.5, so it becomes 45.5, this becomes 55.5, this becomes 65.5, and this one becomes 75.5, right? So these are your mid values. Now as the question is asking you to solve this using shortcut method, you need to take the assumed mean. okay, so let me take the assumed mean, that is A to be 45.5. okay, let's take this to be 45.5. okay, now let's calculate d, that is x minus a, that is x minus a is 45.5. we'll calculate this now. okay, so we have the value of x, so we have 15.5 minus 45.5 will be equals to minus 30. so this will be minus 30. similarly 25.5 minus 45.5 turns out to be minus 20. similarly this will be minus 10, so it will be 0. so this is going to be 10, this is going to be 20, and this is going to be 30. okay, so we got D also. Now let's find what is FD. That is, we'll multiply F and D. So 2 into minus 30 is minus 60. Similarly, 6 into minus 20 is minus 120. 10 into minus 10 is minus 100. So 12 into 0 is 0. 9 into 10 is 90. 7 into 20 is 140. And ultimately we have 4 into 3 is 120. Okay. Now we are asked to find, remember, the mean. Okay. And the formula for calculating mean using shortcut method is x bar equals to a plus summation f d by summation f. So we need to find summation of fd. So let's find it. So it turns out to be, so minus 60. So if you add, you get minus 60 minus 120 minus 100 plus 0 plus 90 plus 140 plus 120. So it turns out to be exactly 70. Okay, it turns out to be 70. Now we need to find summation f. So we will add these values. These are the values for f. So we get 2 plus 6 plus 10 plus 12 plus 9 plus 7 plus 4 will be equals to exactly 50. Okay, right. So we need only these two summations. Now let's see what will be our answer. Right. So we have equals to AA is 45.5 plus we have summation FD. Summation FD is 70 by summation F is 50. Okay, so let's do the cancellation. So it becomes 45.5. So we have 7 by 5. So 7 by 5, if you convert this into decimal, it becomes 1.4. Okay, so when you add this to this becomes 46.9. So that means your mean is 46.9. So this is how we need to do in case of, remember, discontinuous frequency distribution. Okay, so first you have to do the adjustment and the rest of the work is similar. Okay, and with this we close for the day. Thank you very much.